Ready, go one.
We are free, we are America.
Pelosi, McCarthy out. Trump in? Pathway for President Trump? Welcome to the 40,000-foot view. I am John Michael Chambers. I want to thank you for joining me. Stay tuned for a new show at ampnews.us titled Goots. Goots? Yep, Goots. Goots. Get out of the system. This, of course, speaks to the economic tsunami that's upon us. I will be the host of that show. James Grunvig and John Chambers will be back on screen together. James will be my co-host, and we've got some incredible guests coming on. It's a once-a-month show you do not want to miss. Goots, get out of the system. The show basically will provide a blueprint and a roadmap and the resources to get out of the system. And for those that are wondering why, well, the show will cover that too, and you'll get the truth of what's going on in the U.S. dollar and the economy. So listen up closely at the end of the segment 4 in today's broadcast, where I will share with you a conversation I had recently, several actually, very recently, with General Michael Flynn on a Zoom call. Much to cover in this broadcast, including a discussion I had here with Juan O'Savin, featured in segment 2 of today's show. I'll also be talking about a new media company that just made history as the AMP, American Media Periscope, AMP News, and CBMG. The merger acquisition is now complete. We've been talking about this. You can learn all about it by visiting ampnews.us. And you can also go to Yahoo Finance, any of the stock type channels out there, and put in the ticker symbol CBMJ. CBMJ, Conservative Broadcast Media Journalism, and take a look at our stock price. And now this. In a recent interview with the DOD, Department of Defense, Dr. Jan Halper Hayes, we have learned the following. Now, remember, this is very important. The reason, well, who's Jan Halper Hayes? Well, she's in the Department of Defense on a committee, and there's a lot more to her as well. But let me say this. President Donald Trump truthed one of her interviews and acknowledged it. And I covered that in last month's show. But I want to continue because Jan's been out there and she confirms in recent interviews, Dr. Jan confirms in no uncertain terms that Donald Trump is still the commander-in-chief of the United States military. You've heard that at AMP before. We heard that from Juan O'Savin, very, very well spelled out a long time ago. Halper Hayes goes on that Trump is the commander-in-chief of the United States military, and Joe Biden has never set foot in the Pentagon. I'll repeat, never set foot in the Pentagon since he was sworn in as president. Barack Obama might be a puppeteer of the Biden regime, she says, but he's not the primary one. We know that. See, what I love about Jan Halper Hayes is she's revealing everything we already knew. You know, when you tapped into the truth and you followed the greatest military intelligence operation of our time on the board way back when, and you know a few people like Juan and others, you get to know stuff. What this is for us and for me is a validation. So I'm going to continue with these talking points. Barack Obama might be a puppeteer, she says, of the Biden regime, but he's not the primary one because Joe Biden keeps renewing Trump's September 12th, 2018 Executive Order number 13848, which he just did again 2 weeks ago. Biden. This executive order was designed to combat foreign interference in U.S. elections with a focus on the 2020 elections. I'm not going to dissect all this for you. I think you can. Get some skin in the game of thought. Connect the dots as we go through all this. It's fascinating what all this means. The IRS, which was created by Abraham Lincoln and the Congress to collect an emergency and temporary tax during the Civil War, has functioned as a cash pipeline that feeds the European bankster cabal ever since. And of course, we know what happened in 1900s with Woodrow Wilson and the income tax code. That just ramped it up. She goes on, most of the U.S. government's gold had been stored at the Vatican as collateral for the bankster loans made during the Civil War as part of the 1871 treaty. Well, in 2017, and we talked about this a while back, and Lynn Wood put it out there, Donald Trump repatriated that gold back to the U.S. in 650 plane loads when he dissolved the U.S. corporation that was created by the treaty. Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm reporting on a committee member of the Department of Defense, Dr. Jan Halper Hayes' recent interview excerpts. Thanks to Alexandra Bruce, who's done the work. Check her out at Forbidden News on AMP. When Trump went to Saudi Arabia, he presented them with a vast cache of evidence of child sex trafficking within the kingdom. This resulted in the arrest of dozens of members of the Saudi royal family. Now, when Trump signed the Spaceforce Act in 2019, he transferred the communications from all divisions of the U.S. military to Spaceforce. He transferred the communications from all divisions of the U.S. military to Spaceforce, a task she says was just completed in the last 12 months. Dr. Jan says that Biden also recently renewed other Trump national emergency executive orders, and it's interesting to take a look at the ones Biden hasn't renewed. That's the dot connecting we need to do, like the COVID-19 emergency and the emergency at the southern border, which financed the construction of the wall. What's happening here, folks? You see what's going on. And the ones that he has renewed, like the above mentioned a moment ago, Executive Order 13848 and also Executive Order 13818, which blocks the finances and property of human traffickers. Well, why is he letting these good things continue? We're winning. I don't see the one she's referring to, commenting here about handing over control of the presidency to the military. So I assume it's a classified presidential emergency action document relating to continuity of government. We'll go on with Halper Hayes. She says that she doesn't know whether the actors playing Biden, what does that tell us right there? Well, she's confirming that there are actors playing Biden. She says she doesn't know whether the actors playing Biden wearing expensive CIA-produced rubber masks, and she says that we can have fun guessing who they are, but in the end, we know Trump's in charge with the military. This is important, folks. What have I been saying all along? For 3 years, we're in a wartime command structure. It's a military operation, folks. Here's the validation, again, of which Trump has retweeted or truthed. She goes on to say he's the commander-in-chief. As Derek Johnson, we know Derek Johnson has explained so well, and he's done a great job at that. It was separated by the Supreme Court. The federal job of the presidency and the commander-in-chief are completely separate. James Grunwig and I have covered that extensively way back when with 107. SG Anon does excellent work. He's in a league of his own. Anyway, she goes on and says, when Biden said, I think we're going to run out of military equipment, Jan says, remember, she's in the Department of Defense, that was an optic to China for them to go ahead. You can invade Taiwan. We don't have anything to protect them with because I've given them all to Ukraine. Nasty stuff. So take things in, she says. Look at certain things, certain signs that happen. Dr. Jan cites recent stories that appeared in the mainstream media about a teacher in Georgia who was fired because she read a transgender book, not because she didn't read it. And how in Illinois, an art teacher was fired because somebody finally took a look at his social media and saw all the violent, perverted posts that this transgender individual had openly expressed for years. She suggests that these are signs, Jan suggests, that this horrible trans psyop is beginning to fade. Again, winning. She concludes, the last thing I'll say is that our intuition, as well as our physical responses to things, are really what guide us. He's giving us personal advice. When people say, I gave them so much hope, I've had a hard time taking any responsibility for that. What I did, she says, was I validated what you already knew, but didn't trust yourself. Please trust your intuition. Now, I want to share with you, I have said, if those that follow me, those who have seen me speak at the Reawakened General Flynn Clay Clark Tour for the last 2 years, I've been in almost every one of those. The only ones I weren't at, I was sick from the graphene oxide, from the shedding, and the COVID. But every speech, I said the same thing. Reason my speech resonated with the audience is because all I was doing was validating, and I said this almost verbatim, what you already know and feel in your heart and the research you've done. And she's saying the same thing. So I'm going to continue to report on Jan Halper Hayes. I suggest you follow her. So let's move on. We got a lot to cover. We got 107 coming up. This program is being broadcast from the beautiful country of Thailand, where I now reside as I divide my time between the U.S. and Asia, Florida specifically, as you all know. So I'm always about helping people. It's what in part makes me tick. You know, the purpose and duty in life is to serve. And so I was taken to an orphanage of special needs children up in the mountains. Well, it really wasn't mountains, more countryside of Thailand here. And I spent a couple of days up there. We fed the children, bought some toys and things to keep them occupied and so forth. I made a financial contribution to help the orphanage manage things. Great people. There's probably a couple of dozen children there. In fact, they don't live in a politically correct country. Thank goodness for that. So the sign states something like the sign of the orphanage for the mentally retarded. So you get an idea of the condition these children are in. So I went up there to help the orphanage, and the money that I donated helps them manage things. And then I donated funds for a new fence with a locked gate to secure the property because they were very concerned about the gate. It was old, it was bamboo. Kids could get through it, and the kids could wander off. So now I want to share with you, I call Thailand Tales, some images of Thailand, and then we're going to get into some meat and potatoes with 107 in section 2 coming up in just a minute. Let's take a look at this image. Yeah, there it is. Okay, what we have here, folks, is well, that's Chiang Mai, and you can see that's the mountain behind us called Doi Sutep, and that is the clouds saying hello to the earth. That's actually a Chinatown section of Chiang Mai, and there's open markets where, because things are produced in China and Cambodia and Laos so cheap, you buy them there in the flea market type style, and you get stuff for practically free. Next image. Somewhere else in Chiang Mai, up in the mountains, obviously, some temple grounds I was visiting with some folks. Next image. What we have here is mountains. Next image. Very green in Thailand. This is up there in that mountain range. Yours truly, Thai hat and all. Next. This was some other location, and you go into some temple grounds, and I took a picture with the ladies that work there. Go ahead, next picture. 2 young Thai girls, actually my new family members, my family's family here, if you will. We took them out for the day. So cute. Next image. Well, that's a little bit of the tales from Thailand. I'll be back with 107. Don't go anywhere. I'm not Joe Biden.
We are free, we are America.
Get more out of your AMP News experience with AMP Insider. With 7 pillars of focused information, including health and wellness. Receive essential courses on nutrition with the Sherwoods. Find comprehensive strategies for prevention and reversal of cancer. Get discounts on products and supplements. Even download ebooks. Support the mission of AMP with a subscription for $9.95 per month. Get the first month for $1 by using promo code AMP888.
Welcome to a new era of connecting patriots. AMP Insider.
We are free, we are America.
Pelosi, McCarthy out. Pathway for Trump? In just a moment, we will hear a discussion I had with Mr. 107. And I also like to just make some announcements. Talk with me. Any questions you have about anything that I might be able to address, send me an email, 40kfootview@gmail.com. You see it running across the screen. Also, get out of the system. If you're looking for a further understanding of that, precious metals is a part of that 5-bucket approach. Please send us an email if you need assistance, and I will fast track you to our team. AMP Insider exclusive. Check out the AMP Insider for exclusive content for members only, and join us for Ask the Expert, because I can't make this announcement yet, but one of the folks you'll be able to talk with live in real time on Zoom is the opportunity of a lifetime, and it's coming up soon. So join us. Check out AMP Insider by visiting ampnews.us. Now, support AMP, support new media, support the truth in news, and become part of our AMP Patriot family. Visit Yahoo Financial or any of the financial places where you look up ticker symbols for stocks, and look up CBMJ and read the press release and the stock information. And let's give the deep state and fake news a run for their money. We're in an information war, right? What better way for you to enlist in the war and combat the enemy in this information war by supporting the merger of AMP and CBMJ. And I'll talk a lot more about that with some great details and information you're not going to hear anywhere else at the end of the show today. So you can invest in AMP News and support our mission, CBMJ. All right. 107 Intel and Insights. And now, my friend and fellow patriots, a man who has been serving this nation since the time of Ronald Reagan. Be sure to visit thejennifermack.com. It'll run on a screen later to support his efforts, his clandestine assignments, and self-imposed directives, many, if not most of which are unknown to the public. I've spent a lot of one-on-one time with Juan over the last 5+ years. His activities for decades play a critical role in protecting this nation and its interests for decades. So here, listen up very closely, very important. You want to know where we're heading with President Trump? You want to know where we're heading with Pelosi out and what's going on with McCarthy? Here's Intel and Insights from our friend, Mr. 107. Well, welcome back, Juan. Thank you very much for giving us some of your valuable time. I know how much work you're doing out there on behalf of the American people, quite frankly, for all of humanity, truth be told. I have a very important question with the limited time we have, perhaps a second question at the end if we can get it in. You know, Pelosi's out, McCarthy's out, Trump's in. What's the pathway now? What do you see happening? I know you talked about something alluding to this a long time ago. Spell it out for us, Juan.
Well, as you know, the day that McCarthy finally won the speakership after 15 votes, the last agreement that McCarthy made before everybody went ahead and took the votes high enough for him to win was that with just one member of the Republican Party in the House, because the Republicans have the majority in the House, with just one Republican House member voting to recheck and see if there was a consensus of enough Republicans remaining to keep McCarthy at the speakership with just one complaint, if you will, they could check and see if there was enough consensus to keep McCarthy in the office. That was unusual, but it was a rule change. And in the entire history of the United States, no Speaker of the House has ever stepped down, been removed in this way by a vote. So McCarthy wasn't feeling much strain, but I warned your listeners, I warned other people that if he doesn't straighten up and fly right, he's on a short leash, he could be out, and it could be at a critical moment when that could open the pathway. You know, the Speaker of the House does not have to be an elected member of government. It can be any person that all of the people agree to. So I told everybody the day that McCarthy won the vote, down the road, they could decide to put Donald Trump in as the Speaker of the House. Now, the threat there is that the Speaker is second in line to the presidency. And we have a president, if you remember back last year when the Brunson case had things in check and they had docketed it between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the Supreme Court did that on a kind of an emergency basis and then held it. The threat was that the Democrats behind the scenes were planning on doing a little shuffling, and the behind the scenes word was they were going to try and move Nancy Pelosi up to the presidency. She had said for years, before this is over, I will be president. So she had threatened that a lot of times from the speakership position. And if Biden was to have some issue, health or otherwise, impeachment due to the stuff that's coming out with bribes from the Ukraine side and from the China side, investigations, etc. If he was out and Harris was going to move to the presidency, then Harris doesn't qualify to be president based on the Constitution because of her parents not being American-born citizens. So there's attorneys waiting, and there's congressional people waiting to challenge that. Nancy herself knew all those issues and was banking on that to be able to take Harris out. And the contention was that that was going to be last Christmas, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It didn't happen because what Nancy had also said was if she got into the presidency, that there was Democrats saying they would pass a vote that would give a term limit to the Supreme Court justices because of what they had done in overturning Roe versus Wade and 50 years of settled law. And so, in retaliation, which was very fresh at the time, they were going to have a bit of a coup, get Nancy to the presidency, create a document that she would then sign, term limiting the Supreme Court justices and throwing off the balance of power in the administrative, legislative, and court sides of government. All of that didn't happen because of the threat of Brunson. And then once Nancy was out of power because of the Republicans winning the fall elections last year and getting control of the House, once she was out of power as the speaker, that threat disappeared. So right up until that moment, there was always a threat that something could happen, and that case became a checkmate for that particular move. Then all this time from last Christmas to this Christmas, last Thanksgiving to this Thanksgiving, is the time period where the Democrats had hoped to move Biden out of office because of the corruption, all of the stuff that is coming to the fore, which makes him, the stench of the Biden crime family into all the rest of the Democrat groups. They don't want that attention. They don't want that light. So they'd like to have, had him out of the way, but they still got him. They're lashed to him. They're shackled to him, as I described this Roman punishment to your audience previously. The corpse of Biden decaying, the stench. They're still in that condition. The problem for the Democrats is that Biden can't win the presidency in 2024. No matter what the polls tell anybody, he can't win. And Harris, if she moves to the presidency due to impeachment or a health issue for Biden in this intervening period, her numbers, she couldn't win the primary for the Democratic Party, let alone the election. So the Democrats need to get somebody into power with enough time to act presidential, get the American people backing them, get the Democrats across the country in unison backing that person that would come in, and be able to have a prayer of winning the 2024 election. They don't do that with only a few months in power. And you have the primaries, you have the party caucuses and votes, you have the election, all literally in the next year. The Democrats need time to make somebody look strong and presidential to win that vote. So there's really just a couple of months left to pull that off. And I also mentioned to your audience, John, that about just a smidge less than 90 days ago, the Chinese intelligence briefed the Chinese leadership that they had 90 to 180 days before Biden would most likely be out of office. And so they had certain things they needed to accomplish. So even the Chinese intelligence apparatus is predicting that Biden won't be there by the end of this year. With that in mind, if Biden's out for any reason, if Harris can't move up to the presidency or is challenged in any strong way, the Speaker of the House becomes the President of the United States. The Speaker of the House is second in line in succession to the presidency. The idea that Trump, by any mechanism possible, could become Speaker is, it makes Democrats' heads explode. The danger, including prosecutorially, with all the whistleblowers and the courts and everything else, this hold that's in place that's stopping prosecutions could all vaporize. Democrats are very, very afraid of that. And so the idea that it's even remotely possible that Trump could get into the speakership and be in striking range of the presidency it's almost incomprehensible within the Democratic apparatus and all of the donors that benefit, all of those businesses and the globalista that benefit by having Democrats in power in the highest office in the land whatever their actual name is.
Well, thanks, Juan. You know, we have a potential pathway there, as you've laid out very well. And again, I remind our listeners right now and viewers that you mentioned this quite some time ago, and here it is unfolding, as many of the things you've shared with our audience over time. A couple of quick comments, and I got to close this out with a question, a quote from the president, have you weigh in on it. But we have you mentioned the threat of the Brunson brothers thwarting, a strategic move that, thank goodness, didn't come to be. And what I want to get across to our listeners is simply this. We all take a law. Oh, nothing happened with the Brunson brothers. The Supreme Court, this, and we take this approach on many other things as defeats. They're all victories in one way or another, and that's where we go on. We go all means something, and that's where everyone doing every effort at every and any level does make a difference. And one other quick comment on the Biden issue, as you just revealed the China view of their intel on how many days is left, 90 to 180 potentially, according to the Chinese, before the Biden will be out. President Trump,
of which 90 have already gone by the way. Go ahead.
Okay, so the clock is ticking. President Trump, I don't have the quote, folks, so I'm paraphrasing, one of the most recent rallies, and of course at ampnews.us, we stream all the president's rallies. The president said something like, and again, I'm paraphrasing, Biden will be gone in 5 months. Now, 5 months is an interesting period of time because that certainly isn't through the process of an election in November. And so, guys, connect the dots. We're at a point right now. In fact, you know what? I'll get my commentary after our time with Juan O'Savin. It's too valuable here. Let me ask you this closing question, Juan. Sure. President Trump said this, and I'm quoting, "It's bigger than losing any war, losing the dollar as a world's reserve currency." We spent plenty of time talking about the expansive extending BRICS nations and the collective effort to dethrone the dollar and so forth. Now we could spend an entire hour discussing that and your views on Nasara Jassara and where things may head. But just a quick soundbite as we wrap this up, Juan. It's bigger than losing any war, losing the dollar as a world's reserve currency. How can you weigh in briefly for our viewers of the dangers that lie ahead and the potential good outcome a bit down the road? Because if they destroy the dollar, they destroy our economy to that level. That's a big problem. What's your view?
So remember, the dollar is not tied to metals; it's tied to oil at this point in time. The problem there is it's tied to Mideast oil. This administration reversed what Trump did. Trump reversed what the Obama administration did. Obama came in and cut out, shut down with regulations, etc., domestic oil production radically, and federal lands, etc. I had a friend that had 100 wells that he wildcatted himself in Oklahoma, and he had one working well left 5 years into the Obama administration. He had wells that had been working from the 60s, and they shut them all down. When you have the dollar tied to our own oil here in the U.S. and Canada, then you have a strong dollar because you're using your own resources to back it. When it's Mideast oil, you got to have a standing army. You got to have a Navy that goes out and protects the transport of that oil. You got to have a strong State Department that kisses up to those Mideast nations, primarily Saudi Arabia. Where did Brennan come from in the Obama administration? He was station chief for CIA in Saudi Arabia. What was the reason we had to have such strong relations with Saudi Arabia, who really is not American in their way of conducting business, living life, treating their women, etc. So we're doing business with exactly the people that are un-American in their concepts and ideas, protecting their oil. We need to move oil production back to the U.S., which is what Trump did. Obama laughed at Trump and said, how are you going to get oil production up? We're going to be out of oil the rest of our lives and blah, blah, blah. Trump came in, and in 2.5 years, America became an oil exporting nation again for the first time in 50 years. And we're going stronger. It was improving with technology and other things. We became an oil exporter. Our dollar strengthened because of it, because we weren't spending our dollars overseas with people that don't like us. We're spending it on our own production, our own labor, our own citizens, and again, getting the taxes from it for revenue to rebuild our own country and states. When Biden came into power, immediately, day one, began shutting down oil production inside the United States and moving the production back overseas. Why? Because the people that favored the Democrats, and specifically the Bidens, were those Mideast suppliers. Again, where was Brennan as station chief? Saudi Arabia. So they're tied very closely politically and economically through the businesses, etc., to people in that part of the world. With what's coming, John, and your listeners need to understand this, all the things that we could talk about that you're going to hear about on all the stations around the world over the next days and weeks and months, as Trump looms, not way in the background, but right there near the stage, ready to step forward. If Trump returns to power, they're screwed, because it moves the economy, the dollar, the oil production back to America, and he begins to rebuild American business and the framework that keeps the dollar stronger and stable, as well as freezing out, seizing, a really important term here, seizing the monetary assets, bank accounts, etc., of the people who've been attacking us and are holding dollars, waiting to flood them into America like we did when we took down the Soviet Union, winning World War III, which I've talked about previously with your audience. If Trump is able to return to power, which he will, when that happens, the dollar will probably already have been attacked, will be in somewhat of a desperate predicament, and will begin fighting back to stabilize the dollar and hold it and then return it to strength. So I do believe we have some drama ahead. Your audience should have, you've got great providers of silver, metals, coins. Your listeners would be well served to use one of them or somebody else closer to them, get a little bit of physical metal, or at least assets that aren't dots and tittles on a computer screen. If you're a farmer, maybe you need to buy a piece of farmland, maybe you need a tractor, maybe you need some supplies, you need something physical, a little bit of food in the fridge, better the pantry in case the power goes out for a few days so you don't lose it, and be ready for some drama. There is drama ahead, but it's not the kind of drama that we can't sleep at night. We're in terror. We're Americans. We're going to get this under control. We're going to save America and then go out and help save the rest of the world. But it's not going to be without some drama, because some bad guys got in there and they've mucked things up tremendously. If you can't get to justice at the Justice Department, and if the legislative branch and the Senate and the administration are all captured operations, the Supreme Court won't do its job. We do not have a three-legged stool. We have a four-legged stool. And the fourth branch deals in a wartime condition. We're going to get through this. It's going to be epic. The counterpunch is already on its way. It's very close now. Russia, Russia, Russia. See how that goes for the other side. John, we're going to win this, and your listeners need to have faith, have hope. I know they will. We're going to do just fine. That's why we're continuing to talk about this. We're not going into a bunker and hiding out. We got this. All right, bro?
You bet. You bet. Thank you, Juan. And to our viewers and listeners, get out of the system. GOOTS. It's an acronym. Get out of the system is what we need to do. I've devised a 5-bucket approach, which Juan alluded to, not even knowing about GOOTS. And that, of course, is this preparation stuff, survival things, and plan B, precious metals. And there are other things in the 5-bucket approach for patriots that want to move from effect to cause and ride out the storm that Juan just warned us about. But at the end, we do have victory coming. So we're talking here.
John, you know what? It's the end of the world as you know it. It's not the end of the world. Everybody take a deep breath. We're going to kick these guys in the ass and get America back on the right track. But
and I'll
have
tell
a
you
little
what,
bit set aside. Yeah.
if the AI and the Google monsters didn't jump all over us, I'd be playing REM's song right now. It's the end of the world as we know it. Anyway, thank you, Juan. Great stuff. Great analysis.
All right,
Making
bro.
some madness here. Follow 107. Juan, what is right before we recorded this conversation, you shared with me an image about a MAGA coin. What's that all about, and how can people avail themselves to this?
Well, there is a token listed on the token exchanges that'll be released on 10/7/107, October 7th. For the guys that understand tokens and like that, that's a really cool token, and the mega stuff, and there'll be all sorts of stuff in there. It's a token world is something that's in the crypto verse, but probably most of your listeners aren't aware of it. It's kind of a gamers thing. The kids and all that love it. And it's the El Mega token. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to put a lot of effort in that for those audiences and people there. But there is a physical 1 ounce silver coin, the Megador coin, El Megador coin. And it has Trump fighting the deep state bull on one side, and then Trump with the slaves no more image giving his mugshot. It's really a beautiful coin. It's a lot of fun. Jennifer has it over at thejennifermac.com. And it's a beautiful piece of art. It's a lot of fun. It'll be fun for kids, stocking stuffers and like that. I think it's an important one. I carry it around in my pocket. I just got my first one here the other day. And I think it's going to be a fun challenge coin. The next time my buddies throw down for the beer with their challenge coins, I'm going to throw down my mega dollar, and that'll shut them up.
Excellent. So thejennifermac.com, folks, and it's been running across the screen throughout the program. Check out the creative and fun and yet powerful stuff that Juan has created in his films, his books, and all these different items that you can avail yourself to. And with Christmas coming.
Well, and by the way, John, let me just add this. Jennifer just put a beautiful piece of art up. We have our song 2020. It's not over yet.
That's right.
That's the whole theme of this show, where we're talking about Trump is still there, right at the edge of the stage, ready to step forward. Take a look at that piece of art. She did an amazing job. So yeah, we have fun with it. We're trolling the deep state. We're laughing at the devil and his democrats. Deep breaths. We're going to get through this in great shape. We got some drama ahead, but all of us have had drama in our lives. This isn't the end of the world, just the end of the world as they know it.
You bet. Well, thank you, 107 Insights from 107 and Intel. Thanks a lot, Juan. Stay safe. God bless you. And thank you so much for everything you do.
Of course. Thank you, John, for letting me on.
All right. Well, thank you, 107. Again, visit to support Juan's efforts. Please be sure to visit thejennifermac.com. You'll see it on the screen, thejennifermac.com, and send me an email. Any questions or concerns you may have about anything, 40kfootview@gmail.com. Don't forget, buy gold, buy silver, buy now, but buy beware. Send me information about Goots if you need assistance with this and more on the economic front. I'm the guy that can fast track you to the people that can help you. So AMP Insider, exclusive content for members only. Join us in the AMP Insider portal. Now, in the next segment, we will discuss things you can and should be doing to become cause in this war versus the effect the deep state prefers you to be in, and that is fear among the dangers, division, and chaos of which they have created to control you. Don't get stuck there. I know a lot of our viewers aren't, but a lot are, and I understand why. Saving America, though, is not a spectator sport, so I'll be right back to share with you some ideas, tools, and resources to help President Trump and the military white hats take back America.
We are free, we are America.
Reach a loyal demographic of freedom-loving Americans who vote with their dollars. Promote your patriot business on AMP News. Contact Sean Morgan at sean@ampnews.us. Wondering what John is up to? Have questions? Continue the conversation and connect personally with JMC via his dedicated email. Send your thoughts, comments, and questions to John Michael Chambers at 40kfootview@gmail.com. That's 40kfootview@gmail.com. Again, 40kfootview@gmail.com.
We are free, we are America.
Pelosi, McCarthy out. Pathway for Trump? Well, we just heard from 107. You've got some insights there. All right, so some quick news and sound bites. RFK, big fan of RFK Jr. I am. I'm voting for President Trump, should we be able to vote in 2024. But RFK is a breath of fresh air and is upsetting things just like President Trump is delivering truth bomb after truth bomb. And now he's going to be running independent as we see it potentially occurring here. This is great news in the big picture. Then you've got Miley, talk about a treasonous, I'll leave all the expletives out. You can fill in the blanks. We have that move taking place. We have debt put up on the screen here. We're taking a look at this debt image. I'm going to read a little bit of this. Well, actually, what this is telling us is this is something sent to me by James Grunwig. I hadn't done the research, but I'm sure James did. But the $21 trillion of debt at the time has already been paid off. Remember, as Charlie Ward says, like him or not, he's been right about a lot of things. He's been wrong too, as many of us have been on can't be right about everything in an intelligence psyop battle, right? But Charlie has always stated, you're watching a movie and we already know the ending. So that debt's been paid. That's fascinating. Got questions? Send me an email. So as you follow President Trump on Truth Social and other areas of content, whether you're watching X22, certainly our programs here at AMP, and wherever you're going for information. As you follow Donald Trump, President Donald Trump on Truth Social, his speeches, wherever he may appear these days, you have learned that President Trump confirmed he is the president. Katie Hobbs is MIA. Elon Musk dismantles X's election integrity team. Elon Musk is officially in business with Spaceforce. Now, Spaceforce, of course, being something that President Trump brought out to the surface and in use as part of technology suppressed, and yet released Pelosi and McCarthy. So you have all these things going on with them being ousted and Elon Musk working with Spaceforce. Biden is out in 5 months. Who said that? President Trump. He said that in one of his recent speeches. And by the way, we stream all the president's speeches. You don't have to flip around and look around. Oh my God, where is it? Just follow ampnews.us. Check us out. We got easy links to look at. We stream all the events. So we are perhaps months away from, in my opinion, from a major victory. As we look at this from the 40,000 foot view, which is the name of this show, that's what I'm doing. I'm not reporting hard news in the news fashion. We do that on our great show hosts at AMP. What I do is this report each month. So we are perhaps, in my opinion, months away from a major victory, a pendulum shifting moment in this war. It's not happy days are here again. It's not full-scale celebration. It's not all that, but we are going to return America, as President Trump said, to a safer and more prosperous place. And that is coming. And we have a big, big, big victory coming soon. Saving America and redirecting humanity is not a spectator sport. I've said that before. There is a plan. And now everyone knows that. There is a plan, as we covered in the previous segment. And from my point of view, here's our pecking order of command and control in the life of this war. We are at war. The pecking order of control and command is, of course, our creator, God, Trump, the military white hats, and you and me, we the people, we the patriots. That's how we save America. And remember, it took a handful of militia to fight the British and to form this great nation. It's now up to you. It's up to us to take it back. George Washington, it's been told his troops in the thick of the battle up against all odds, stating to the troops, give me one more day. And so now here in 2023, President Trump and the military white hats, General Flynn, and so many other leaders in the saving of America and the redirection and course correction of humanity are asking for your help. They're asking for one more day. So won't you help to save America? Our children's future, your children's future, before they kill us all, is bleak at best. There are no excuses at this stage. Anyone can get skin in this game and fight this war, and at so many levels. It's an information war, and we need you to enlist. President Trump said this, and I will quote, "We must not surrender to the false song of globalism." So I'm asking everyone to join this incredible movement. I'm asking you to dream big and bold and daring things for your family and for your country. And I'm asking you to believe in yourself again. And I'm asking you to believe in America. And if we do that, then altogether we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. God bless you, President Donald John Trump. So there are so many things we can and must be doing right now if we are to take our country back. I'm going to get to those points and get you access to a document to take our country back and restore this constitutional republic, which actually ended in 1871, which the president has acknowledged by acknowledging the Halper Hayes interview. It has now reached the precipice. America is embarking upon a near-death experience, as Juan coins the phrase. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. And you must understand the significance of this. And it's not going to happen without you doing something. So please help. Today, we are living in a post-constitutional government, not of, by, and for the people, but directly influenced and controlled by Satan himself through China, the fake news media, the entertainment apparatus, the indoctrination versus education system, the global cabal, the banks and Wall Street, and many, if not most, of the Democrats and most of the Republicans here at home. Never mind the countless idiots, lunatics, and morons that are used as cannon fodder by this evil. Meanwhile, our Democrat, independent, and libertarian friends who are not part of the lot of lunacy, these folks need our help. They need our help. We need to unite. We must unite. I bet you that number, I think it was 81, 82 million, the actual number of votes that President Trump got in the election that they stole, it'll all come out. We have the intel. We've had it for a long time. We must unite. So, but the president, I'm going to say by some wild estimations, I don't have time to get to connecting the dots on that, but we probably are closer to 100 million people right now that have come aboard to the truth of what Trump represents. So we must unite. And the following now is part of an evolving short list and directory, if you will, a list of ways you can get involved to take back your country, our country, for your family, and mostly for posterity, folks. It's going to be a long ride. So for starters, have faith. For those of us of faith, of course, have faith in God. Surround yourself with like-minded people who truly do understand the times in which we live and expand that circle of influence. For those of us of faith, pray. The following now is a short list of action items and a directory I'm going to get you to that we can and should be doing fighting this war. So please, enlist now. Invest in American Media Periscope, CBMJ, Conservative Broadcast Media and Journalism. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's get behind companies that we support. Become a digital soldier. Share the information on social media because we're gaining control over that now, aren't we? Elon Musk, right? And I know all about Elon Musk, but right now he's being used and serving us in a very good capacity with regards to the Twitter. Share the truth on every street corner. Don't be afraid to talk to people in the supermarket. I do. Read them first. Be good at that. Otherwise, it could backfire. Donate money to causes that do the right thing with it. Join local groups in your area, in your community. Support organizations that are worthy of support. We've got a list for you. Hold peaceful rallies. Vet and expose the rhinos. Always, always support President Trump. In my opinion, I'm going to say this. I take heat for it. Sorry, folks. No Trump, no hope. That's the way it is. And I already gave us the pecking order, so don't peck at me. God first. Trump, appointed by the creator. Military white hats and we the people. So vet and expose the rhinos. Big problem there. Trump's doing a great job at that. It's up to us to do that in our local Republican clubs. Run for office and make some noise at the city council meetings. This is taking place all across America. Get on board and have some fun with it because we're winning. They know it. They've been exposed and we have all the ammunition in the world. So let's talk about changing our investing and purchasing habits along with our health care. providers and modalities. Do what you know is right for you. Support patriot entities rather than continuing to flow your power to the other side. We've learned an awful lot over these years. Now, Scott McKay has a good program in Operation Tomahawk and other programs he's embarked upon. So let's take a look. Another way you can do this, take a look at our sponsors. By supporting our sponsors, you support AMP. But look at who our sponsors are. These are people in the health, wealth, faith, and survival areas, something we all need direction and help in. And they're all Patriot partners, every one of them. So avail yourself to them and support them. Visit ampnews.us, and as part of our premium membership in the AMP Insider, you have access to a report that you can click on, and which includes a resource list, and it's titled Action Changes Things. So if you're already a member, go look in the portal, Action AMP Insider, Action Changes Things, Saving America is Not a Spectator Sport, and list now. So you can sign up for the AMP Insider and download that report. It's got a list of organizations and numbers to contact and websites, and a lot of ideas that I've put together of what you can do to get some skin in this game. So when your children and grandchildren ask you, and this is the reason you want to do this, when your children and grandchildren ask you, what were you doing when the global governance was being thrust down the throat of America and the world, what will your answer be? It better be, I was real busy doing something. Why? Because freedom, it's up to us. And I'll leave you with this, and I've stated this publicly for over 3 years now. We are under a wartime command structure, and we don't know what we don't know. So sometimes things don't make sense, but everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. So never, ever, ever give up, because freedom is up to us. So stay safe, and God be with you. I'll be right back with my final segment, closing comments, and very, very important announcements, including the conversation I just had privately and personally on Zoom with General Michael Flynn. I'll be right back.
We are free, we are America.
Banks are supposed to be the safest placeholders for cash in the world, but in 2022 that changed. The Federal Reserve pulled out $2.5 trillion of liquidity out of the banks, and the Fed also changed the requirements so banks don't need to keep any funds on hand. This means banks are starved for liquidity and have now become very dangerous places to hold your assets. Get out of the system with the world's safest and most private assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott, PhD at 720-605-3900.
We are free, we are America.
McCarthy and Pelosi out on their ass. Trump in. Welcome back to the 40,000-foot view. It's been a great show. I've been enjoying talking with you. I hope you're getting some value out of this and getting a little bit of entertainment along the way. I'll get to the General Flynn discussion, the private discussion. I had several, actually, in just a moment. Now, these are epic times. Embrace it. Embrace it. God's in control. We're on God's side. 100 years from now, we're going to look back at this period of time, and we're here. Those alive will look back at this period of time. But I mean, we're here at this historic moment. So get some skin in the game and check out AMP Insider again by visiting ampnews.us for exclusive content. I would like to, thinking where I'd like to go here. I want to talk about the merger of American Media Periscope, ampnews.us, and CBMJ, Conservative Broadcast Media Journalism. We've been working on this for many, many months, and it's finally done. We put the letter of intent out as a public press release about a month ago, and now the official merger and acquisition is done. You can invest in American Media Periscope by visiting any of your favorite financial channels, or if you have a broker or a Schwab account, Fidelity, whatever, go anywhere you want in that world and put in CBMJ and learn more about the stock, and the press releases are there. I'm not privy to tell you what's coming up, but I can tell you there's a press release of magnitude coming out very soon. Start following this. Don't miss it. So listen up closely at the end of the segment, at the end of segment 4 here in today's broadcast right now, where I'll share with you some more information. Let me move on to something here. All right, I want to talk about conservative broadcast media. Who is behind this? It is Floyd Brown. Many of you know Floyd Brown from Western Journal and Citizens United. Floyd Brown and Mark Shaftling from the Shaftling Report. You'll find Mark has been a guest on our show sometimes. There's a huge announcement coming soon, but that's who's behind CBMJ is Floyd, Brown, and Mark, and everything you want to know about them, we've published it all. It's all up on the websites. So, powerful Patriot Media merger. If you think about it, folks, we know, those have been following truth for years here, that there are 6 major corporations that own and control the information: Hollywood, news, advertising, music, the internet, everything. 6 major corporations that own and control this. And we have the list, and I've published them before. And so what CBMJ is doing is, well, we're replacing them. This is the beginning of the big shift. The fake news media is collapsing. You must thank and credit President Donald J. Trump for that, period. So they've been exposed. They're falling apart. And in my forecast, in a couple of short years down the road, they'll be completely gone the way that it is now and transformed. And the new media is forming right now. People like flyover conservatives, a lot of voices that are out there, certainly American Media Periscope. You've got Mike Lindell's platform. You've got Mike Adams' platform. But we're delivering truth and news in a very professional format at ampnews.us. And the power of the merge with CBMJ and Amp News is the beginning of what will be a conglomerate of other purchases later to replace the 4 a.m. talking points, will become the source of 4 a.m. talking points of real news. And will replace those 6 major corporations that own and control everything. Big task, but has to be done. If it's an information war, and information, as you will learn from General Flynn, if you watch Focal Point interview with Alex Newman on ampnews.us, sit down with General Flynn, you're going to learn all about 5th generational warfare in layman's terms, what it means. And I can assure you, information and controlling the mind is everything. So please support us. Take a look at the stock symbol and get behind us. Join our team of patriots. Look up the ticker symbol, CBMJ. Get with your advisor or online accounts and become part of our family of patriot warriors and grow this network. Become part of the tip of the spear, part of the weapon, the information war weapon. And let's drive them out. And now, as I close out this episode and this show, the 40,000-foot view, I'll leave you with this. In the recent discussion I had with General Flynn on a Zoom call, we reminisced about the very first General Flynn Clay Clark Reawakened tour, which kicked off at the Rhema Bible College to about 4,000 people in the theater, streamed to millions. Jim Caviezel joined us live from Zoom on the screen. This is when Lynn Wood was there, and there's so many other great patriots. And American Media Periscope was there in the media room. This was the first of what's now gone on to 2.5, almost 3 years of these this movement, these conferences. And I'm in the media room with Alexandra Bruce and Dawn Martin from American Media Periscope. There may have been some other folks there, I can't recall. And I was right up front with the cameras and all that. And General Flynn walks in to do a presser. Now it's the first one. And of course, no fake news was invited because we know what they would do with it. So we were all the new media within there, the folks that you know as well were there. And General Flynn walks in and goes, everyone's like, oh, General Flynn, they got the cameras, you know. And Flynn said, put down the cameras. Will be time for all that later. And he basically, I don't want to paraphrase or quote the General, so I'll just kind of share with you the gist of what he said. And I'll tie it back into the conversation I had with the General. We discussed this. What he said then was, put your cameras down and listen up. He basically gave us a directive. And he reminded us that the left kicked our ass. One of the reasons is because they stick together, come hell or high water. And now that's breaking apart, which tells you we're winning. But they stick together. And he's implored upon the new media, of which I was there and part of. He told Ann Vandersteel and us and everybody else in the room, Matrix and Groove, and I can't remember everybody was there, and said that you guys, I understand you got pride in your business. It's a business as well. You've got bills to pay. You put your life on the line, but you got to work together. Don't look at it as competition. Help. We're saving a country here. Well, I listened to the General, and I spoke to General Flynn last week about other things as well. Some of those things you'll come to learn about. But I spoke to the General, and an honor it was. I've met him several times, of course, at all these conferences. But to actually, just sit down on on a call with the general one-on-one was new for me, and we covered a lot of ground, and we'll reveal some of that later. But I do want to conclude this show in this segment here with the general. Is we talked about the Rima Bible College thing, and he said, John, you're one of the very few that actually stepped up and followed the directive, and he said nice things about AMP and the work we've done, calling us warriors, and everyone at American Media Periscope for the collective work that we've put out there. So thank you, General Flynn. We complied, and American Media Periscope is here. So who is winning this war? We are. Battlefield America, with dangerous incoming hitting us, but now hitting them. Every which way to Sunday, this stuff is hitting us. We're being hit on every front with virtually all of our freedoms gone under full-blown attack. But as we laid out in this program, we are whipping the deep state's ass. So remember, follow ampnews.us and look for a new media resource coming on November or December in our special programming at AMP. This is a new announcement. Name I'm toying around with is AMP Intel Portal. I'll present this idea. You're getting it first, actually, before the board gets it. But if it's something the board likes, and I see no reason why they wouldn't once they understand it, there'll be the AMP Intel Portal, free to the public. And it will consist of 2 Intel sources that in a different formats, not a video. There'll be audio sound bites of specific subjects that are bombing us on a day-by-day basis, so you can get it straight from them. Short and sweet at a click of a mouse. So follow ampnews.us for free. Sign up for free. You'll get all the announcements there. And then please join us in the AMP Insider for $9.99 a month. Believe that there is a plan. We've laid it out. It's been proven now. And that we are winning this war. Understanding psyops, disinformation, false flags, etc., it's beginning to make sense. But when things don't make sense, just know that we don't know what we don't know, and everything will be okay in the end. Never give up. We are on God's side, okay? And so I want to close out here. I'm looking for a statement here. Here's some images. Let's do this to our producer. Let's take a look at some of these images that support narratives I found on Facebook that pretty much support what we're talking about. Well, first here we got our good friends Scott McKay and Dr. Brian Artis and Dr. Judy Mikovits, absolute warriors at a recent event. Next image. Facebook, New World Order, most of society. So true. Next. All right, one simply does not accidentally call one's wife Michael. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe it's been scrapped from YouTube. Just go look around at this subject of Big Mike. And I looked at it and saw it when it happened. Not only did he mention Michael mistakenly, not just once, twice. One in the outtakes of an interview with like one of the fake news outlets. Hopefully it's still up there. And the other was in a speech he gave to dignitaries and leaders, of which Biden was in the audience. Again, one simply does not accidentally call one's wife Michael. Next image. And that'll all come out soon. Go ahead, put Michael up there as a candidate because there's a lot of talk about that. Roger Stone's been talking about that. Bring it on. Oh, that would be a wonderful, wonderful can of worms to open up. So President Trump, when I was 18, people called me Donald Trump. When he was 18 at Barack Obama, was Barry Suita. Weird. Next image. Connect the dots here. Obedience training. Don't buy the bunk. And by the way, there's about 15 Democrat-run governed states, cities rather, that big chaos is going to happen soon. And these will be the people running around with their masks on. Next image. The truth is no longer hidden. Now people are hiding from the truth. Well, not you and not me. Next image, please. Yeah, I love this one. Just soak it up. Yes, you are all wrong. It's hard to be that guy. I've been that guy, and it's not been easy. Deplatformed, debanked twice, called all kinds of things, even from within our movement. But yes, The sheeple, the normies, you were all wrong, and it's okay. We all want to be right. So now come and join us and be right. Next image. Some people will never like you because your spirit irritates their demons. Follow Denzel Washington. Good man, good man. He's got a lot of great quotes. Next image. Trump. So less than 5 months from now, we're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. What does that mean? Well, we're not voting in 5 months from now. I wonder what that means. We're going to take back our country in 5 months, and we're going to make America great again. 5 months from now is February 2024. Next image. Better to die fighting for freedom than be a prisoner all the days of your life. No question about that, Bob Marley. Next image, if there is one. Things are not, I love this one, things are not getting worse. They're getting uncovered. We must hold each other tight and continue to pull back the veil, exposing the evil, I might add. Next image. The time is coming. I can't see the whole thing the way my computer is set here. That is covered up will be revealed. Okay? And all that is secret will be made known to all. Whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light. And what you have whispered behind closed doors will be shouted from the housetops for all to hear. Luke 12.23. Next. It's dark and dangerous as we are living in extraordinary times, fighting for our survival as a nation, thus as individuals. Yes, the attacks against us will intensify. Things will get worse before they get better. But the best is yet to come. Know this, we are winning this war. And I hope you can see this and become part of this incredible movement. Those who would destroy us with lies, those who would attempt to bury us and destroy us with lies, are they themselves now being destroyed by truth? We are witnessing not only the exposure, but also now the fall of the cabal, and soon a new world will be ushered in. So let's get on with it and arrest the evil, treasonous traitors, take over the TV stations and the social media platforms. All this is in motion. Broadcast the truth 24/7, show the trials, and restore freedom in our constitutional republic. And since this is an information war with false flags, psyops, the global cabal, the sinister forces are now exposed and on the run. We know who they are, we know where they are, and we know what they have done. And since the justice system is part of the corruption, justice in due time comes to the evil ones via first investigative, which are underway, then prosecutorial, coming up very soon, tribunals. Remember, we are under a wartime command structure. Investigative tribunals are already underway, and mark my words, justice is coming. So join us in the AMP Insider. This includes health, wellness, education, reform, wealth strategies, and more. AMP Insider members can also watch all of AMP's archive content in one place, enjoy shopping, and so much more. Speak with AMP show hosts and some very prominent special guests coming up soon. So become part of AMP, conservative broadcast media journalism, the merger, ticker symbol CBMJ, and invest in the future of media. Final words here. Remember, 3 things cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Stand strong in truth and share this show and our news programs at ampnews.us with everyone far and wide. It's time we unite with one heart and one mind as Americans. This battle that we are in is for all the marbles. It's either us or them. Good must triumph over evil, and it will. And together we will save America. I'll see you the first Friday of each month here on ampnews.us at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And remember, Goots, get out of the system. New show coming to American Media Periscope. Questions about protecting and preserving your life and your assets and your health? Send me an email at 40kfootview@gmail.com. It's been running across the screen. A little bit extended show in time. If you've listened to the entire program, you must like my words. I appreciate your company each and every month here. This is John Michael Chambers speaking with his voice. Stay safe, and God bless you.